Bro, look at this. Look at this damage. Ah, nice. Still the same. Project Rebalance. You've probably heard of it. Big magic spells, large range defense. Apparently there's a monster examine window. I didn't know that. That's a lot to understand. I know because I watched the video explaining it. Note that I said watched. I logged in after and I'm still poor, so some update, right? So rather than just regurgitate this information in the same way, let's do a very fast video explaining all the major things in a way that's very easy to digest. Realistically, there's only 3 major forms of changes happening with Project Rebalance. The changes to magic with elemental weaknesses, differences with the new ranged defense types, and the item changes associated with the changes to elemental weaknesses and ranged defense. Let's get into it. So the big change, the magic stuff. Magic is gross, man. Got runes, charges, spellbooks, fucking telekinesis. We were born to shiv someone in the back or throw sticks at each other, not conjure up a fucking blue ball that's, I don't know, electrocutes whatever this guy is. Magic is dead content. Just get a charged staff like the Trident of the Seas or Sanguini like everyone else, you know?
Wrong.
Elemental weakness was introduced in this update, which in layman's terms is just magic spell type weaknesses for different monsters. This is an age-old thing that doesn't need to be explained heavily. It's just like Pokemon. It's like anything in the world. Fire weak to water, earth weak to water, ghost weak to air. Yeah, sure, whatever. Point being, certain monsters are now weak to certain spells. Simple. How much weaker? That's where it can be kind of difficult for people to get, mainly because people don't really understand how defense works in general. So let's make it easy and look at it this way. So with elemental weakness, this starts with an unchanged part of the game. Your magic plus strength stat, that number you see on the character stat page. That value increases your overall damage. It does not increase your accuracy, for anyone who doesn't know. If you can hit a 5 and have a 50% chance to hit something, then you randomly just put on whatever to give you 20% plus magic strength. You can hit a 6 now, but you still only have 50% chance to hit something. Make sense? Elemental weakness is actually just an invisible modification to both of these values. How hard you can hit something and how accurate you are. When you fight a monster with a certain weakness and you use the elemental spell type they're weak to, imagine that value in your stat page magically just bumps up to this value instead of the original one. That's all this is, because the formula is now literally just your base damage times the sum of these two values, your magic strength and the monster's elemental weakness. That on top of giving you an invisible, much higher percent chance to hit something, which is pretty nice. Really simple, don't overthink it. If you're casting Water Bolt on the Cowfight Queen because, I don't know man, you just hate yourself, and you had plus 10% magic strength, you'd now have a max possible hit of 11. Because Water Bolt hits for a max hit of 10, you have plus 10% magic strength, 10% of 10 is 1, so 10 plus 1 is 11. Makes sense. Say you finish dying because you're a fucking loser and you saw you had an extra few runes left over and just decided to give, I don't know, the giant mole a try. Well, with that same setup, now you can hit a 16, and you're gonna have a 50% higher chance to hit as well. Crazy, I know. This is actually a really good change because it's completely independent of your gear, only what spells you use. A young spring chicken running around with a fresh set of robes from the Wizards by Varrock is still going to get that 50% bonus accuracy and damage if they use Fire Strike on a Moss Giant. So just look at elemental weaknesses this way. An invisible boost to that plus magic strength and a much higher boost to your chance to land a hit. Alright, that seems like it covers it, right? Let's go ahead and move on. The other big change is range defense. Range is not like magic. We like range. It's simple. Get a blowpipe, profit. Tell some stranger you have a twisted bow, log out. Really easy. But the thing with range is it's not like melee but wants to be like melee when it comes to fighting monsters. Enter Project Rebalanced, which introduces new types of range defenses for monsters. The new types are heavy, standard, and light. This one is really easy to understand, because it is literally just a carbon copy of an existing system, the stab, slash, and crush melee archetype. So when you get, I don't know, a new Slayer task and you look up that monster on the old school wiki, just look at range defense like melee. Is it weaker to light, standard, or heavy? And then just get your blowpipe and call it a day, you know, because that's what we all do anyway. Those are the two big changes. That's what you really are going to need to adapt to. And for the most part, this will change Magic a lot, and it will change how you deal with monsters in certain ways. Realistically, what it did was give the mid-game players an update so they can hit a lot harder and be able to do more content without having to fork out a shitload of money for much higher gear and stats. There were also quite a few changes to existing items and a couple prayers, but I'm not not going to cover them all here. I'll just throw some highlights on the screen. A few noteworthy ones were nerfs and buffs to magic pieces, shit for rich people unlike me, and some cool buffs to damage when you have certain prayers active that didn't have damage modifications on them beforehand. There were also a few changes to special attacks for certain items, but again, this is for rich tryhards. We are the common folk. We did not see changes to our old reliables. But hey, the Dragon Warhammer drops only after like 3,000 lizards now, so what a beautiful day. Like I said, I'd rather not make this a 10-minute video, just cover the big stuff. If you want more information, check out the link in the description for the changes to different items and a complete list of all monsters affected by elemental weaknesses and range defense. I'm sure there's going to be so many different metas developed from this over the next month or so, but if you want to go ahead and do a little bit yourself, there is a DPS calculator where you can put in all your different stats and gear and see how much damage you will do versus certain monsters, especially ones affected by elemental weaknesses and the changes in the range defense and things like that. Hopefully this video helped break it down relatively easily and quick. If it did, please do me a huge favor and slap that thumbs up button and subscribe so I can feed my kids. There's no bones to peaches spells in real life, so I need it. Thanks for watching, good luck, have fun, and I'll see you on the next one.